it from Walmart and see if it actually meets our needs. We're going to put it to the test, going through out here in the field, seeing if we can meet those survival priorities that we have to do. They had back in the camping section, it has over 22 things in it. I don't really know what they are. I haven't even unzipped it yet. It's brand new. Seems kind of serviceable. Feels pretty solid at this point. But we're going to grade this on 4 different metrics. We're going to see if we can get a shelter out of this. We're going to see if we get a fire out of this. I know it has some type of knife or cutting tool in here. We're going to see how good that thing is. And it has some navigation stuff in here we're going to check out. At the end of it, we'll either know if this is, a good piece of equipment or if it's trash or what we need to do with it, right? First off, let's start out with opening this thing up and see if we have something for shelter. One issue right off the bat. So I didn't bring anything else out here with me. I just wanted to use this kit to see how well what would do. And right off the bat, these 2 tags are zip tied together. And luckily I have my pocket knife on me and I just cut that zip tie. But if I didn't have my pocket knife, that zip tie might have been hard to break to get into this survival kit. So there's one thing right off the bat. Hey, make sure you can open it before you take it out in the woods. Okay, so our first priority was going to be shelter. We were going to get some type of shelter set up, see what we got in here. I opened up the pack, and there is, sorry, I got like a sore throat thing going on. There is no shelter stuff in here whatsoever. There's no emergency poncho. There's no space blanket. There's nothing. There is some 550 cord here. It looks to be like 10 feet or so, maybe a little bit longer, but this is it. Like, this is the only thing. So if you had this as your kit, if this is the only thing you had out in the woods, you would be making a debris shelter. That'd be your only option. Hopefully you'd have time and the physicality to do it. Hopefully you're not injured or something. So as far as shelter goes, this kit is a big bust. It is a no-go on the shelter. Yeah, it's a no-go on shelter. I can't believe there's nothing in here. There's not a thing. Let's move to number 2. Number 2 is going to be fire. So I did see a couple of fire things in here. We have a ferro rod. It seems to be, pretty good. Seems serviceable. Let's have another one on this, this paracord survival bracelet here. It does have another small ferro rod. That was really hard to do. That is really small. If my hands were cold or something, that would probably be pretty difficult. But it does have some of this, also some jute twine in here. So let's see if we can get a fire going. Here we go. All right, so as far as fire goes, as long as you have some of that wax jute and you know how to use a ferro rod, it burned for several minutes. It took a flame really well. It took me like 3 or 4 tries. So as far as fire goes, you can get fire from this kit. There's one. Okay, this thing came with several cutting tools. It came with a locking blade pocket knife here with the serrated edge, which I don't like. It came with a little folder that also has a blade on it with a pair of scissors, which I do like, but this does not lock, but it kind of fits in your hand. It's not a bad little size for a pocket knife. It came with a little tool card that is sharp on one side and has a little saw blade that feels pretty sharp on that side. I don't know how well it will cut. It came with one of these wire saws, and it came with an e-tool, strong word, e-tool, not, it has a saw blade there. We're gonna be there in a minute. So let's try out this knife. All right, first thing we're gonna do, we're gonna, in my mind, in this, we're gonna be like processing game or, trying to process firewood, or maybe we're carving stuff. So I'm gonna go cut some dead sticks and some green sticks with this saw, and then we'll start doing some carving and see if we can't make something happen. All right, we're gonna come up to this sumac tree here. I went ahead and made me some improvised handles. Let's see if we can't cut this down. Well, it cut through that pretty well. All right, now that we see that it worked on green stuff, let's go find some dead cedar or something. We're gonna cut it down, see if we can't make some feather sticks or something for firewood. That's a good sized piece. Okay, so those two cutting items, this saw worked really well, still together. So I only used it on 3 or 4 pieces of wood, but it's still together, so that's a plus in my mind. And this knife, I mean, it did pretty well. It split the cedar up, batoning went well. It made some good feather sticks. I don't know how long it would hold an edge. I don't know how long it would take, but if this is the only knife you had, I feel like you could definitely process some firewood with it, and you could clean a fish or something like that for sure. You know, again, so let's talk about what we have in here for signaling. We do have some chem lights here for signaling or nighttime light. This does have a little, you know, this little bracelet has a whistle on it. So that's loud. It does come with another whistle. That one actually, that's really loud, and it has a little like coach's whistle sound to it, so that doesn't sound so much like a bird. It does have a flashlight in here that did not come with batteries. There's no batteries in it. I didn't see any batteries in the kit. I looked 2 or 3 times. I didn't find them, so I'm assuming if they're in there. But if I can't find them right now, sitting in broad daylight, not being in a hurry, maybe I probably wouldn't find them if I was panicking or something like that. As far as signaling goes, I like that there's 2 whistles in here. There's some chem lights. I mean, because these don't run out of batteries, but they are very limited on how long they burn. You know, we could tie these to this and have some type of signaling device, some passive signaling. I do not like the fact that the flashlight does not come with batteries, but as far as since there's some signaling things in here, I'm going to give it a go on signaling. All right, let's talk about some navigation stuff, because if we can find our way out, let's just go home and not stay in the woods. It does have a little button compass on the handle of the shovel on this paracord bracelet, and I did verify with my other compass here that I wear on my hat, they do actually point north, and sometimes you do got to check that. I've bought some cheap little button compasses before. They weren't pointing the right direction. So since there is 2 of these and these particularly work, chalk it up and say, hey, it's a go. It's a go at this station for some navigation. Last impressions on this kit. It ain't that good, right? I don't think it's worth the 30. I definitely don't think it's worth the $30. There's no shelter stuff in here. Yeah, there's some fire stuff in there, but you know, in the survival world, fire without a shelter, that's just for morale. You have to have a shelter to go along with that. And they could, I mean, if this had a poncho in here, a space blanket, just some type of sheltering device, that would make this a little better, in my opinion. If we started going beyond that, you know, the cutting tools, they seem to work just fine. The compass is actually pointed north. There was, you know, those 2 redundant signaling devices in there, so that was pretty cool. Type of container in here, not even a Ziploc bag to put water in of any kind. There weren't batteries in the flashlight. You only had 2 chem lights. I feel like for $30 you could probably put together a little better kit that is going to meet more of those needs just as easy as this would. If you liked watching the video, go to arkansassurvival.com, see our upcoming courses, and as always, thanks for watching.